There are no greater battles than those between our feelings, most importantly controlled by our amygdala, which operates subconsciously, and our rational thinking, most importantly controlled by our prefrontal cortex, which operates consciously. If you understand how those battles occur, you will understand why it is so important to reconcile what you get from your subconscious with what you get from your conscious mind. Hope you all had an absolutely amazing day yesterday. I definitely did. And I am looking forward to getting this day started well with you, regardless of what happened yesterday, if it was good or not. Today's a new day, new opportunities, and I am really excited about reading some of Ray Dalio's principles to you and giving you my commentary, thoughts, and ideas. And this last couple of chapters, there have been so many ideas and thoughts and really interesting things that we've been able to share. And I'm going to quickly say hello to Ali and Rammstein and Robo and Jen Kretschner, Geocon, Lauren German. So good to see you all. And I just accidentally slipped across and pushed the phone. And Mladen is over on Zoom, so welcome to all of you. We are at part B of 4.3, understand the great brain battles and how to control them to get what you want. And I think this is a really, really amazing chapter. So we're talking about the conscious mind and unconscious mind, the subconscious mind. And let's have a look at part B, which is know that the most constant struggle is between feeling and thinking. So let's get into it. There are no greater battles than those between our feelings, most importantly controlled by our amygdala, which operates subconsciously, and our rational thinking, most importantly controlled by our prefrontal cortex, which operates consciously. If you understand how those battles occur, you will understand why it is so important to reconcile what you get from your subconscious with what you get from your conscious mind. That damned amygdala, which is a little almond-shaped structure that lies deeply embedded in the cerebrum, is one of the most powerful parts of your brain. It controls your behavior, even though you're not conscious of it. How does it work? When something upsets us, and that something could be a sound, a sight, or just a gut feeling, the amygdala sends notice to our bodies to prepare to fight or flee. The heartbeat speeds up, the blood pressure rises, and breathing quickens. During an argument, you'll often notice a physical response similar to how you react to fear. For instance, rapid heartbeats and tensing muscles. Recognizing that your conscious mind, which resides in the prefrontal cortex, can refuse to obey its instructions. Typically, these amygdala hijackings come on fast and dissipate quickly, except in rare cases, such as when a person develops post-traumatic stress disorder from a particularly horrible event or series of events. Knowing how these hijackings work, you know that if you allow yourself to react spontaneously, you will be prone to overreact. You can also comfort yourself with the knowledge that whatever psychological pain you are experiencing will go away before long. Now, this is really interesting because we have two different things going on at the same time. So one, we want to have our intuition. Yesterday, I spoke about when I came back from Japan, and Japanese people always buy fresh food every single day. And then I would go to the shops and I would just intuitively feel what I wanted to eat. And so my body was signaling what I felt like, which was the nutrition that I needed. So I might have need for cauliflower, or I feel like something different. Whatever I felt hungry for is what I would buy and what I would prepare for dinner. But on the other hand, we also have those short-term responses, short-term intuition. And that short-term intuition is the exact opposite. So whereas we can, in calm times, think of things that are really important that we need to do, and we need to act on those. With the short-term ones, it's the exact opposite. So when we get upset, when we have all these issues, it's the amygdala that is doing this work, and it is causing us to react to fight or flight. And that is what we want to avoid if possible. So yes, if we were being chased by a tiger, we would want to be able to spontaneously react to that. But if it is a situation where it's road rage, or if it's a situation where we get upset with somebody for something else, or if it's something that we're afraid of, that, for example, it could be investing that we might be afraid of, then if we are afraid of that, it's going to hold us back from taking action that could actually potentially get us to where we want to be. And so those ones we need to avoid where possible. And the best way to do that is to really notice what is going on for you throughout the day. So let's say, for example, I'm driving and I notice that I get upset about other drivers. What that means is that I can now notice it and do something about it. So I can think about, why is this person driving the way they are? Is somebody parking and did they have to stop for them? Are they a learner? Maybe 3 cars ahead of them, there's a learner, and that learner is really struggling to understand the road rules and is driving a little bit more slowly and is maybe not so confident that they're not going to hit the car that they're just passing because they're a little bit worried they might be too close to it. So in those moments, we have both of our brains working together. We can get our automatic response, but then we can look at that response and decide whether it is actually beneficial or not. If we only go after those immediate responses, then we are sometimes going to get ourselves put into jail if we beat somebody up. We are going to get ourselves into trouble if we are going to allow ourselves to be taken into that fear, and when we then no longer take that action towards investing, for example. So we want to be conscious of these things that automatically come up, and whether they are good, such as the intuition on what to eat, or the intuition on an idea that you might want to implement, or a dream that you have and an idea on how you can implement that when we are in a calm state. So remember, these kinds of intuitions come when we are in the shower, when we're going for a walk, when we are in a calm situation. Those are usually the good intuitions that we want to follow immediately. And when we're in stressful situations, when we're afraid, when we are under stress, when we are feeling that somebody's putting pressure on us, those are often the ones that we are not wanting to follow. Those are the kinds of intuitions that are negative and that could be holding us back on some level. So yes, if it was a saber-toothed tiger that was chasing us, we would want to act on that immediately. But in this case, we can think about it and decide, because there's no saber-toothed tigers chasing us. So we can take every time that we have an intuitive thought and decide whether it is something that is beneficial or whether it's something that's negative, that's actually holding us back from what we really, truly desire. And thank you for all the hearts that have been coming in the meantime. I see Young God's joined as well. Robin's joined. Nick Buchanan and Jahana sent some hearts, and Ben Starr sent some hearts. So really appreciate that. And Bickers74 also joined. So thank you so much. And let's continue part C. Reconcile your feelings and your thinking. For most people, life is a never-ending battle between these two parts of the brain. While the amygdala's reaction come in spurts and then subside, reactions from the prefrontal cortex are more gradual and constant. The biggest difference between people who guide their own personal evolution and achieve their goals and those who don't is that those who make progress reflect on what causes their amygdala hijackings. Absolutely, you want to be able to notice what goes on for you in your day and what is positive, what isn't, what works and what doesn't work. And this is a very strong principle that I'm going to absolutely agree with, because when you are in control of yourself, you can achieve lots of different things. When you just react because you're not in control, that's when you start having things get out of hand. So you want to be able to analyze everything that happens to you. You want to understand your brain, so you don't just want to analyze because it might not make sense to you. But if you start reading more about the brain, go further into what it is that we are talking about here, and you will start to see how the brain works, and then you can start to analyze and understand why certain things happen. And then you can start to say, well, every time that I've done this or reacted to this kind of intuition, things have gone well. Every time I've reacted to this kind of intuition, when I felt bad or negative, there was a negative result. And so you want to be able to start picking up on these patterns. And humans are really good at picking up on patterns. You want to pick up on those patterns and start correcting course when you notice that something stressful or negative or pressure related has happened, and that is now causing something to happen that is going to get a negative result. So you want to be able to nip that in the bud so that you can prevent the negative thing from happening. Take a step back. It's like when you're at school and people would say, take a step back and just breathe and count to 10. That counting to 10 is going to give you the ability to be able to change your response, which will change your results. Okay, there's something I wanted to say about that, but I can't think of what it is. But I'm going to say thank you to John Butcher and J. Rod, Sumner, and Dex for joining. Mad Kiwi and Next Level Arton. Thank you so much for joining as well. Okay, part D. Choose your habits well. Habit is probably the most powerful tool in your brain's toolbox. It is driven by a golf ball-sized lump of tissue called the basal ganglia at the base of the cerebrum. It is so deep-seated and instinctual that we are not conscious of it, though it controls our actions. If you do just about anything frequently enough over time, you will form a habit that will control you. Good habits are those that get you to do what your upper level you wants, and bad habits are those that are controlled by your lower level you and stand in the way of your getting what your upper level you wants. You can create a better set of habits if you understand how this part of your brain works. For example, you can develop a habit that will make you need to work out at the gym. Developing this skill takes some time. The first step is recognizing how habits develop in the first place. Habit is essentially inertia, the strong tendency to keep doing what you have been doing, or not doing what you have not been doing. Research suggests that if you stick with the behavior for approximately 18 months, you will build a strong tendency to stick to it nearly forever. For a long time, I didn't appreciate the extent to which habits control people's behavior. I experienced this at Bridgewater in the form of people who agreed with our work principles in the abstract, but had trouble living by them. I also observed it with friends and family members who wanted to achieve something but constantly found themselves working against their own best interests. And the interesting thing is that you have the ability to make a change by becoming very disciplined in small little things. So let's say, for example, that one thing that you'd like to be able to do is go for a run. And you can start very small. So you're sitting in front of the sofa, in front of the TV on the sofa, and you decide you want to go for a run. Rather than get up and go for the run, the best thing to do is just put on your sneakers. Just get up and walk, go and get your sneakers, which is much less effort. And that small discipline makes you want to do more. It makes you want to take the next step, which is then go for a walk in the sneakers, because those sneakers actually feel good. And then before you know it, you're probably on the path to doing more and more towards that goal that you have. So you want to start with small little things. So every morning I wake up at 4:30 and I take a cold shower. And by doing that very regularly, it strengthens this willpower muscle that we have, because willpower is a muscle. And so by strengthening that, by doing things that I don't necessarily want to do, even though I like my cold showers, but I do other things that I don't necessarily want to do. And by doing them, it strengthens that willpower so that when we stand in front of a choice, we can either procrastinate or we can take action. We can either do the right thing or do the wrong thing. And by building that willpower, by doing small little things that seem insignificant, it makes it easier to make those decisions when the crunch comes through. And very quickly, Selena, Pham, and Hanson, thank you for the hearts and for joining as well. And Corona has joined as well. So great to have you all. Let's continue. Then I read Charles Duhigg's best-selling book, The Power of Habit, which really opened my eyes. I recommend that you read it yourself if you're interested in this subject. It goes deeper than what I'm able to cover here. Duhigg's core idea is the role of the three-step habit loop. The first step is a cue, some trigger that tells your brain to go into automatic mode and which habit to use, according to Duhigg. Step 2 is the routine, which can be physical, mental, or emotional. Finally, there is a reward, which helps your brain figure out if this particular loop is worth remembering for the future. Repetition reinforces this loop until over time it becomes automatic. This anticipation and craving is the key to what animal trainers call operant conditioning, which is a method of training that uses positive reinforcement. For example, dog trainers use a sound, typically a clicker, to reinforce behavior by pairing that sound with a more desirable reward, typically food. until the dog will perform the desired behavior when it merely hears the click. In humans, Hicks says, rewards can be just about anything, ranging from food or drugs that cause physical sensations to emotional payoffs, such as the feelings of pride that accompany praise or self-congratulation. So we all have different things that we react to. It might be that you like words of affirmation, or you might like gifts, or you might like different other things. So humans are a little bit different. We have different things that push our buttons more strongly. So if you understand that, you can actually get other people to get into good habits, but you want to be able to find out what pushes your own buttons and get yourself into good habits. And what was I going to say about this? Can't remember. It will come to me when it needs to come to me. Habits put your brain on automatic pilot. In neuroscientific terms, the basal ganglia takes over from your cortex so that you can execute activities without even thinking about them. Yes, comes back to what we were talking about 2 or 3 days ago, where I said that everything that happens is software in our brain. So when we feel nervous, we might start biting our nails. When we are in the car, we might start feeling road rage, even though we are a very calm person elsewhere. So everything is very automatic. So this is a really great book for you to also read, and we might add it to the list. The list is getting longer and longer. It is a really good book to understand how the brain works so that you can catch yourself and make adjustments so that you can actually achieve your goals. Because without it, it is challenging to achieve your goals when you are just running on that autopilot as opposed to being in control of what you are doing with your life. Reading Hicks' book taught me that if you really want to change, the best thing you can do is choose which habits to acquire and which to get rid of, and then go about doing that. To help you, I recommend that you write down your 3 most harmful habits. Do that right now. Now pick one of those habits and be committed to breaking it. Can you do that? That would be extraordinarily impactful. If you break all 3, you will have radically improved the trajectory of your life. Or you can pick habits that you want to acquire and then acquire them. The most valuable habit I've acquired is using pain to trigger quality reflections. If you can acquire this habit yourself, you will learn what causes your pain and what you can do about it, and it will have an enormous impact on your effectiveness. Okay, tomorrow we will continue with part E, but that was already very deep and extremely useful if you want to become more successful, because you are the creator of your destiny when you understand how your brain works, and you are using these principles in order to be able to avoid temptations and to understand the difference between fear-related things that will get you a positive result and fear-related things that will get you a negative result. So a really good chapter, and I really enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed that too. And if you do enjoy these readings, then the rest of the readings, so all the chapters starting at the beginning, are available on our YouTube channel, which is called The Passive Cashflow Club. Make sure that you subscribe, because we don't just put videos of Ray Dalio's principles that I'm reading, but also of the other books that I've read, The Art of Thinking Clearly, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, with my commentary as well. And you can also see the questions that I have been answering. So you have been sending in questions, which has been amazing. And I've been answering those questions. And so if you've sent in a question and you've subscribed, you will know when your question has been uploaded, and you'll be able to get the answer. And even if you haven't sent a question, even though I highly recommend you do, then it might be a question that relates to you, and you'll be able to see when that question has been uploaded. And who knows, it might help you to be able to solve one of your investing challenges so that you can get past it and start achieving greater success with your investing. So very, very exciting. Now, if you'd like to send through a question, or if you'd be interested in the simulations that we run, or game nights that we run, or masterminds and other things that I do, then you can come and join by getting in touch on Instagram. So ask your questions. Let me know if you're interested in any of those things that I just mentioned, the masterminds, the simulations, the game nights, the networking events. We've got lots of really amazing things going on. And yesterday, I also requested anybody that wanted the article that I wrote, which I am tweaking today, by the way, and will be sending out tomorrow. I wrote an article about some of the things that I wrote an article about based on what we are talking about in Principles, a morning routine that helps you to really get in control of the output of your mind, as opposed to just letting it be a automatic pilot that takes you based on what your past experiences and the experiences of your family are. So it really gives you back control over what that software is and how it's going to output, so that you get the results that you want rather than an automatic output, which might be the things that you're getting now that you don't want. So if you're interested in that, get in touch on Instagram, business_team_6_official. I'm also looking forward to getting to know more of you. So everybody that I mentioned on Bigo as well, Sam Saiki and MC Mihai Braila. I hope I pronounced that right. Lean and Handsome and Celia Pham and everybody else. I would love to get to know you and actually start a conversation and see what makes you tick, what you are doing investing wise, and what your thoughts are on the reading. Because I am sure it's one thing to listen to somebody, but it is something entirely different to be able to actually get to know them. And it is something for me as well, because I am really excited about getting to know more of you, because yes, you are there and you can hear me, but I would love to be able to get to know you and actually meet you after knowing that you have listened to me. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you, either seeing you online at the Passive Cashflow Club on YouTube, or hearing from you on Instagram, where you can send me your questions or ask me about the events that we run and different other things that we do. And also you can ask me about that article that I will send you. So get in touch on Instagram, business_team_6_official. I am looking forward to getting to know more of you. Have an absolutely amazing day today. Tomorrow we'll be doing some more reading at 8 a.m. Sydney time of Principles by Ray Dalio with my commentary. And I'm looking forward to seeing you for that. So have an amazing day. Do some great things to get closer to your goals. And remember to make the switch to unlock your rich, because if you keep doing the same things, then you're going to keep getting the same results. You start implementing some of these things that we've been talking about in this particular chapter of Principles, then you are going to unlock a whole new world. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. And thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it.